Hey, have you heard about my AI alter ego? That's right. Ask Alan Anything is now live, and we've trained it on my 13 books. We've trained it on over 200 podcasts. It has most of what's in here, not everything, but most of what's in here. And you can, when you're sitting around going, gee, I wonder what Alan would do in this situation, or I wonder what Alan would say in this situation. Well, now you can. Go to whatwouldallansay.com. Enter the coupon code podcast because you're going to get half off. It starts at only $10 a month. And now when you're thinking, I wonder what Alan say? Now you can actually ask. Go to whatwouldallansay.com, enter the coupon code podcast, and start asking me anything. How could you make your website speak AI? Ooh, want to know what I'm talking about? Listen to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, sales trainer, consultant, author, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have a little more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hey, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I am so happy to have my friend and co-author, Brian Lawrence, back on to talk about having your website speak AI. Brian, welcome back.
Thank you. It's a new language we'll be talking about today.
It absolutely is, because SEO, that was the thing that we heard for years and years and years, search engine optimization, which is still important. But now we're talking about AI and how people are searching. I know for myself, I use AI more than I use Google these days for searching. So tell me, now, what is this called? Is it answer engine optimization? Is that what it's called?
Yes. Because the whole way that people are querying has changed from just typing in keywords to asking actual questions.
Right. Which is the way people search. Like if I'm searching for a YouTube video, how do I replace the air filter in my car or whatever is a question. But this is different because AI is working differently there. So does this mean scrapping your website and starting over?
Not really. I mean, many businesses would greatly benefit from a new website.
Yes,
but not
true.
Because of AI.
Right.
It's really more about making sure that AI doesn't have to guess at who you are, because AI is not good at guessing. I mean, that's where the mistakes are made. So if you're not crystal clear and you end up not speaking to AI the way it should be spoken to, you could end up being described on AI as something that you're really not. And that's really a challenge.
Right. So yes, a lot of people could benefit from an updated website or a new website, and that has nothing to do with this. That's just that things change. I mean, my website, my homepage is all new. Some of my other pages, I'm changing images and stuff because it's just time, right? It's just time for that. But AI, you're talking about describing it. So how does the search engine, what the search engine results are, how is that different than what AI is returning?
So the first thing is I just want to be clear about something, is that AI searches are still like fractional compared to Google searches.
Right.
So it's something that is definitely increasing, but Google is still, the 800-pound gorilla.
Right.
But a shift that is happening for many couples is that they're complementing their Google research with AI.
Right.
Or they're starting with AI, but they don't necessarily stay with AI because, for example, a lot of the AI mentions and suggestions don't have a link. They're just mentions. So what could a customer do that's on the website? They have to Google the business by name.
Right.
So if some businesses that really take a look at Google Analytics, you might find that all of a sudden that you think that you're getting more name recognition, and you are probably from AI, but instead of coming up on AI with a link, you have to go to Google.
Right. And I think if you have analytics and you know how to read it, you can go in and see that more people are searching for you by name, as opposed to you're coming up because they searched for a caterer in Peoria, right? Or a photographer in Tempe, right? That's different than if I'm looking for you by name, because we don't use the yellow pages anymore. We use Google. That's what we do. We go looking there.
Right, but the value now is that AI is creating more name recognition, so that
Right.
then they can search for Google by name.
Yeah.
So it just skews the results a little bit, because it's more like when someone searched for you by name on Google, they already knew about you on some other way, but now it could
Right.
be in real time that this is the first moment they knew your name, and okay, they're going on Google to search for it, so it's a little bit different.
Right. Plus, Google is incorporating search results themselves through AI, through their Gemini, because everybody's competing, right?
Yes, and word's out that Gemini is doing really well. They're really good at it, and you'd think they would be, because it's
It's
Google.
it's Google, so they have the data. Yeah.
Right,
I actually on one of my computers I'm using Comet, which is Perplexity's browser,
right.
and Perplexity, for those of you who don't know, is another AI. It's good at some things. It's really good for research. It's not as good for things that like rewording your emails or websites or stuff like that. It's not as good for things like that. I just started playing with Gemini. Their image generation under Nano Banana is just insanely good. And I've been giving the same prompt to ChatGPT because they're playing catch up now. They were the leader. Now they're playing catch up. And I do run the two images and I go, no, no, Gemini's is better. That one is better. But that's today, right? By the time you're listening to this, that might not be the case, right?
No, it's
Who,
crazy.
who,
I just remember it at Wedding MBA the year before last, not the mastermind
yeah, right,
last year that we did together, but the one before that. I mean, that was really where it started, where you actually started talking about AI,
right.
and did all these different prompts to give people ideas on how to get information on the wire of their business, etc. And it
Yeah.
just, it was a trajectory for you into a whole new level of education.
Yeah, it's again, it's a tool that we didn't have. I've said this before, you and I with a little bit of gray hair here, we're digital immigrants. And that just means we didn't have these technologies when we started. When I first, for those of you that don't know, Brian was a customer of mine when I was selling wedding advertising and publishing wedding magazines. We didn't have, well, we didn't have gray hair, but we didn't have, I had a cell phone, but it was in my car. It didn't come out, right? We didn't have email or these things. It just wasn't there. We use it now. And that's the same thing that's happened with AI. And that's what couples are doing now. This is a tool they didn't have a few years ago. So we as businesses, if you've been in business long enough, you had a website, it was just good enough that you had a website. Now it's not good enough that you just have a website. It has to be a good website. And now we're saying not only do you have to think about SEO, but now you need to think about answer engine optimization. So no matter how they're asking, they're going to be able to find you. So what does it mean to make your website speak AI? What does that actually mean?
Well, to a certain extent, AI, when you search on Google, you're getting results, and some of those results are actual businesses. Some of those results are actual like industry platforms like Wedding Wire, and then not that are the experts at SEO that are actually capturing a search that may have been intended for local businesses and bringing them to their platform to deliver
Right.
them to their advertisers.
Right.
But with AI, it's more like suggestions and mentions and guidance, as opposed to just cold individual results.
Right. So on
So,
your website, what does that mean? What do you need to do differently?
well, it's having content that helps AI easily digest bytes of information that they can just bring to their platform to mention you, and to
Okay.
have accurate information by you about you. So it, like, for example, instead of a search of of outdoor weddings, say in Toledo, they might ask AI, what are some outdoor weddings near Toledo that have gardens? So you have on your website, like, you may have an FAQ page on your website, but now it's about having an FAQ panel on every page
Mm,
that makes it really easy for AI to capture content the way they like to digest it. Like, and if you, I mean, if I'm sure most of the listeners now have used AI on some level. If you take a look at what they say, the way they word it, it could be like bullet points. It's very, very structured. So your content that is structured on your website that way makes it very compatible. It's almost like a copy and paste. They just grab it and use it, and it makes it easy. I mean, that's one part of the process with how to be more friendly to AI. But a lot of the process that we'll talk about a little bit later has to do with what you do outside of your website. It's not just what you do on your website.
Yeah, so it sounds very similar to how I trained Ask Alan Anything. Is it's called chunking the content, which is questions and answers that people might ask, and then the AI part of it can interpret, okay, that was kind of like this question. They may not ask it exactly the same way, but the idea of having that FAQ on every page is basically thinking ahead to what might be asked and then having the answer to the question. So when AI searches, like, oh, look, this website has both the question and the answer. This is a better result for this particular query.
Yes, and you could also get some marketing intelligence on what are the best questions and answers. There's a few ways out there. The one way, which is really easy, is say you type into Google a question and you get the search results on the first page. You might get different businesses and things like that that meet what Google thinks is an answer to that question. But there's also a segment on that page where it says people also ask.
Right.
So that's showing different renditions of that question or different associated questions. And those questions are good ideas to include on your website because they're asked a lot of times, or Google wouldn't have them, and then have your answer to that question.
Right. Also when you start typing the question, it starts predicting what you might be asking.
Yes.
Also look at that and say,
Yes.
oh, wait a minute, maybe this is a better question than the one I'm asking here because people must have been asking it already. That's a great thing. Is that the predictive text there? Um, so what else? What like if there was one thing that you say is missing right now from pretty much everybody's website who's listening here, what's that missing piece?
Well, I'll tell you that, I mean, this is like so new. It's having an actual AI page, a
An
page
AI
that you
page.
that you created not for couples to see. It's not part of your navigation. It's not pretty. It doesn't. It's almost like a resume that helps AI easily grab information about your business.
So this again sounds like when I trained Ask Alan Anything, in the back end is all of this information. Or if you've come to any of the AI presentations I've done, I talk about personalizing your Chat GPT so that it knows who you are, it knows all those things. People don't see that on the front end. It's got to be on the back end. It basically you're training it. So this is
Yes,
like a training page.
it's not really on the back end. It's an actual web page,
Right.
but you're not going to. It's almost like an orphan page that just exists on your website. It's not in your navigation. I mean, we're not looking for it to get found on a Google search. It's there. I mean, we actually code it with AI. It actually
So
has.
how does Google how does the AI see it if it's not
Well,
in
we
your
actually
navigation?
use like in the URL AI
Okay.
as part of the URL address as part of the URL.
Yeah.
The address, we actually use AI in the coding to
Okay.
for you to get the address. And you
Okay.
have to kind of think of the page as an explanation, as if you were Google, ChatGPT, or a voice assistant, sitting in a room and saying, "Explain your business like we've never met you before."
Right.
And you present them with it's almost like I said, a resume that includes everything about your business in a way that is spelled out clearly and completely.
So when AI does a search and reads this page, it's not going to give them a link to this page. That's what you're
No,
saying.
that's
Okay.
correct. It's basically a palette for AI to get information on you.
Okay. So what should be on that page? Can you break that down?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So the whole idea is that AI doesn't have to guess because, again, as we said in the beginning, when you have AI guessing, they're not very good guessers. So you have your real business name, who runs the business, how long you've been around, where you're located or where you work, and also consistent contact information that is exactly the way it would be, say, on your Google business profile or anywhere. And in general, your contact information should be consistent wherever you go.
Please make it easy to find too.
Yes, yes. And also remember, if you moved, I mean, many people just think, all right, I'm going to go online and tell the post office, I'm going to change my Google business profile, I'm going to change the address on my website. But if you didn't change it on all of the other 50 to 100 other directories that you may have been listed on, you're going to end up creating a disconnect in your search engine optimization because you're still listed at old addresses.
Right. And
But
especially if your name is similar. We actually just secret shopped the wrong venue recently because the name was so similar to another one in a similar geographic area. And we like, this doesn't sound right. And then we realized, oh, it's another one, very, very similar name.
yes, it's a real problem if you're being searched by name and they're seeing your competition first.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened here.
So, and
Okay.
then and then on this page is like clear service definitions.
Okay.
What you do. You should also, bring up pricing, just like we talk about having some sort of pricing transparency and
Hmm.
how transparent you are and how you do it is totally up to you. What else
Hmm.
you offer, what you specialize in, and also what you don't do.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you're a DJ, you might not say, we don't do 3-year-old birthday parties
Okay.
because
Right.
that's a totally different ball game too.
Or clubs or something else that a
Right.
generic DJ search might have. Would that also work for geographic? If you say, would you tell it where you do and where you don't work?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
geographic is also the area coverage also is absolutely. Uh,
Okay.
and then you go on to now remember, I mean, even though they're searching for for you, uh, and it seems like they're getting it, you're having an AI page that's on your website, you
Hmm.
still have to have on that page your website.
A link to your website.
The actual website, your blog, and then if you've gotten yourself out there, any podcasts that you were on, any interviews, any articles that you might be on, and of course all your social media platforms.
Now, what if
So
you had some of that stuff already on your site, like you have a blog? You still have to, you're putting the link to the blog. You're not re-putting the articles here.
correct. I mean, basically,
Okay.
all this is almost like a table of contents or a
Got it.
resume of just a resource list of everything about you that's just easy to look at high level and
Got it.
just grab
Hmm.
information.
Okay. Um, So this is about credibility then, right? This is about your social signals.
Yes, I mean there's that. I mean, and that's where also you get good traction. So that pretty much takes. So there's also maybe the why of your work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
How
not just
how
what,
you
but the
work.
why.
Like you talk about how you work, what's important to you, how you guide couples in the planning stages. All those things are also good to have. So it's really
All
like
on that
the
one, all
whole
on that one page.
all on that one page. I mean, it's not. It's almost like a like a page in a book that has subheadings, but it's
Right.
not. There's no real aesthetic or anything. It's just pure text.
Right. Because nobody's going to see it except the bots.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So again, FAQs on numerous pages. So if you have a wedding page, you want a wedding FAQ, a mitzvah page, a mitzvah FAQ, quinces, all those separately. Um, you're saying numerous pages, but like, do you need one on like your about page?
It doesn't hurt to have it on have different questions that relate to the page that to a certain extent may be a summary of some of the things that you actually say within your page.
Okay. And so I guess two ways to look at it. One is you can create it for the AI, put it down at the bottom of the page, and the other is you
And,
could
and,
put
I,
it.
th- and I really think in general that's really where you want it. I mean,
Okay.
essentially, the best type of user experience when we're really talking about front facing
Hmm.
is for it to flow. For people don't typically read. They
No,
just they
scan.
just skim, they flow. So they're looking at imagery, they're looking at headlines, they're looking at benefit bites, just things that pop and attract their attention. The FAQs are, you really got to read them. So
Right.
it's there, but it really isn't there for the
But for
customer,
the user, it isn't
for
for
the
that for the
user.
user.
Yeah.
But the questions should be relevant, and
Yeah, they should be.
phrase.
It should be the same type of thing. You use like people also ask, and you curate the best questions, the questions that are the ones that are more likely for people to really want to know.
And doesn't matter how many. It could be lots and lots of them. I would
You really
formatting
don't need to
now.
have a lot of them. I
Okay.
mean, it's really more. I think there's been a study done that 8 is a good amount, and then you could. It isn't a matter. You can swap them out over time. I mean, once they're there for a while, you can just replace them, so you're keeping it fresh. You're not relying on these FAQs to drive a conversion. This is
Right.
strictly for optimization.
Right. And if you, everybody listening, if you know what a toggle is, it's that little click the plus sign and it opens. I actually did on the Ask Alan Anything page. If you go to whatwouldallansay.com, there's a toggle, and the FAQs are inside that in their own toggle. So you just see one line, you click it, and now you see all the questions, but you still have to click the question. And that just made it not take up a lot of real estate because most people aren't going to go there.
100% toggles are a very valuable condenser of content where it makes it more readable and it makes sense. I mean, if you have a lot of questions, when you see so many questions, where do you begin? But if you have a chance to, if the answers are displayed, but if
Right.
you have a chance to see the questions,
All
you
the
decide
questions.
which one you. It's the same thing with pricing.
Right.
If I
Yeah.
mean, if you have a bunch of options and have them all at once, let the client have control. If they want to compare one side by side, it's just a little bit overwhelming. People sometimes, the way that businesses think of websites is they overestimate the attention span of the business.
Yeah, the attention span is zero basically these days, and it's getting worse, right? Um, so let's shift just a little bit. So something that we've talked about a long time, social proof, reviews, still important on the website?
It's more than ever.
Yeah,
Uh, when a couple or now an AI assistant is trying to understand your business, reviews are, I mean, they are an honest explanation of,
yeah,
because it's not coming from you.
right.
It's coming from someone that has the experience of your business and is
Yeah,
sharing it.
yeah,
So it's proof. So if you want to make the most reviews, the first step is you really got to embrace it. You got to love the idea of going after reviews. You got to
yeah,
feel good. I mean, yeah, and I know when businesses actually take a chance to read it, it is very validating. But
yeah,
the idea of going after and the effort of getting them is what
yeah.
most businesses just don't. They treat as a chore. But
Right.
it should really be part of your process and not an afterthought.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and because again, the things that matter with reviews, obviously the number matters when you're on the Not Wedding Wire, Google, whatever. The score certainly matters. Does not have to be perfect, but good, really good. Recency, that's what we're talking about. Is they don't care what you did last year, they care what you did last month, and then responding to the reviews. But that's on the platforms. On the website, it, again, you might have gotten a two-paragraph review from someone that is just amazing, but nobody wants to read that,
oh
right?
yes. But and this is reviews are, as we know, are off-site. They're on the platforms, and
Right.
AI is scouring everything about you. That's where I said earlier that it expands outside of your site.
Yeah.
It's the reviews. It's being, say you were on a blog post of another vendor on a real wedding, and they talk about that you say you were on a Facebook group and somebody praises you. Like how many times, Alan? I mean, I've seen it a lot of times about you. People are mentioning, well, talk to Alan Berg. He's the top sales trainer in the country, like, or different things like that. I mean, I was honored. Like one of my clients said, they asked who's the best choice for a web designer, and one of my clients said the best in the business. So I mean, those things count with AI because AI likes. I mean, they want to deliver what they think is the best results. So being associated on a list of being the best or being top is, really, really, really counts. It's something that you could also subtly have on your website. I mean, you don't want to come off as like you're bragging. All you're talking about is you're the best this and the best that. Right. But in general, the more places that you can be known as the best outside of your website, that's where it's really going to count. And a lot of non-venues certainly understand the value of their relationships as being a preferred vendor at a venue, but just sitting back and not doing more with that opportunity is a big mistake. Yeah. So I always tell clients that they should list the venues they're associated with on their website. It's really good credibility, just like a wedding wire and the knot badge. Mm-hmm. But they can do even more. They can do real wedding blog posts that prove their expertise at that venue. So on those blog posts, they could actually talk about how much they know about that venue, what they like about the venue. And then it associates the business as being an expert on that venue, or being an expert on wedding venues. So all those things just add up for you to be perceived as an expert.
I remember years ago, a friend of ours, a videographer, and a high-end hotel in his city called him up and said, "Why did you hijack our SEO?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, if you search for us, your videography website comes up." He goes, "Yeah, because I talk about you more than you talk about you." But that's what this is he literally was listing their name more on his website than they listed their own name. And they weren't blogging. They weren't doing real wedding stories. Real wedding stories is the easiest way to add new content to your site, because that's what you're doing.
And it's the only type of content that could add to the user experience. I mean, couples don't need to look at the 10 best types of flowers to use in your wedding bouquet. They can go to the knot. They can go to blog posts. They don't need that. Everything should help on your website, should support the conversion.
And it's not that those things wouldn't be nice to have, but if you want to spend your time, talk about the people you work with, talk about the events that you do, talk about the thought process that goes into it. I think I might have mentioned this to you already, Brian. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on the podcast. I heard a great idea from somebody. They said on the way home from the wedding, they turn on ChatGPT and just data dump the story that they just watched and they just had a part in. And then the next day, they're using AI to create the blog post, to create social posts and things. And if I would suggest you make a template so that once you've data dumped, it can just take that information, put it in the template. You're listing the other players in the movie, right? The other vendors that are there. And that's fresh content, because if you don't add fresh content to your website, it gets stale, right?
And that's amazing, and that's such a fantastic use of AI. AI will find out who they are, where they're located, all of the things that are the details. The content will still be totally yours and original. It's just a matter of they'll format it, they'll make it look like a blog post.
Right. And that's the thing that I've been teaching and working on with AI, is working with your own content so it sounds original. And there's nothing more original than the weddings that you do. There's nothing more original than that. All right. So this is all really information. I know we scared a few people, but this is really, you good. You don't get scared. You don't take action, right? But what about traditional SEO? You said this is only a fraction of the searches that are happening now. So what still counts from traditional SEO?
Just about everything. I mean, the only thing that has really, really changed really has more to do with Google being more sophisticated, Google being able to read between the lines. Like you don't have, and you've said this, you used to use the Rain Man example years ago, is that you need to write for the couple, not to please Google. And stuffing your website with keywords is too intentional. Google can totally read between the lines. You don't need to. You just stay in your lane with just being authentic and showing the why of your brand through good headlines, good content, and just weaving keywords in very tastefully, and having, and trying to get them into your reviews and different things like that. But in general, the things that still are important is good site performance, clear structure, the headlines that are authentic, also linking between your pages, giving each page weight. And also, again, Google is still the big thing, and many people treat their Google business profile as like an annual event. Once a year, they'll come in and they'll dump a lot of photographs. It's almost like updating your website, but that's not what the Google business profile is meant to do. It's more like a social media profile where you need to update it on a regular basis, because that's something that you will get rewarded for. Like when you get reviews on Google, that could help your ranking. When you update your Google business profile on a regular basis, that could also help your ranking.
So I have an RSS feed. Those of you that don't know, really simple syndication. Every time a podcast comes out, it adds a link to that. It adds the image onto my Google business profile. That kind of updating counts?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you listen to what we just said before about blogging, right? You create a Real Weddings page on your site. It's a blog, and have that blog feed to your Google business profile automatically. You don't have to do anything. It's a one-time, add the little code there. You're feeding two monsters at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
That's great.
But the AI page is something that that's a service that we're now offering. It's brand new. I don't know of anyone else that's offering it. I mean, we had to do a lot of research to figure this out. I mean, I'm an educator, but I'm also a student, because you have to keep learning. And this is the thing that we think is really going to help some businesses, and and it's not something that requires design talent. It's just knowing how to do it. So what I shared today. Someone takes your podcast, all they got to do is listen to what I said, and they can do their own AI page. But if they need help, I'm here.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Some people want to do it themselves, some don't. But I can vouch for the fact Brian is a perpetual student, always learning. He's staying on top of this so that we don't have to. He set up my Google business page. He's helped me with my website. That's why we wrote a book together. If you have not gotten, from browsing to booking, that was Brian and I co-author my biggest book to date. It's there. It's these ideas, and you have to keep up with the way your couples are searching. And it might be a fraction now, but if you're listening to this podcast a year after we recorded it, things have changed. Brian's up on it, right? I'm not up on it because I live in New Jersey, so I got a guy, and he's my guy.
you trust me, so
I trust you, exactly.
And I'm just so honored that we have an opportunity to learn from each other, because
and I appreciate
I learned so much from you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you coming back on. In the show notes, again, you can find Brian, brianlawrence.com. If you're watching the video, it's right there next to his right ear, brianlawrence.com. And Brian can help you with a new website, updating your website, this AI here, SEO, all those different things. And he will be back on again many times to keep us updated on what's going on. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Hi, it's Alan Berg. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or guest, please go to podcast.alanberg.com and you can make your suggestion there. You can also do it at Ask Me Anything, which is a button on that page, or just email me at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. And if you'd like to find out how I can help you with sales training, website review, consulting, or speaking for your group or organization, possibly at no cost to the organization, contact me directly, Alan at weddingbusinesssolutions.com. Thanks again for tuning in.